Hey Gwen,
Hi.
let's do a little race recap.
Race recap number 3. Sure. Should we just get straight into it?
Conti Cup in St. Louis. So
Yep.
when did you decide you were going to do the race?
Oh, like less than 3 weeks ago. And we
But
came.
you finished, you crossed the line in New Plymouth, and then when did you decide?
Don't you think it was 2 days, 3 days later? Or do you think it was immediately? I can't remember.
Well, I think you wanted to do it, and then it took a day, 24 to 48 hours to confirm your entry into the race.
Yeah, we decided I just needed more race experience. So, yeah, I mean, leading into the race, it was horrible prep. Like, it wasn't ideal, right? Like, I came back to altitude, so couldn't really train for like 10 days. I mean, I was training, but you can't go too hard because you're coming back to altitude. And I struggled a lot those first, I'd say, week to week and a half back, getting back into everything and just some family stuff. And yeah, that adjusting to altitude, and then it was snowing. So that was just it was a bit chaotic, I'd say, in between the races. And really, we only had basically like 2 weeks. So I came up to altitude for like 2 weeks and then went back down to race.
Yep,
Yeah.
perfect. And then, okay, so walk us through the race in St. Louis. So you flew there on Thursday. I picked you up at the airport with Stanley and George. What did your training look like on Thursday?
Yeah, so Thursday morning, Patrick had already left for the day. He drove and he started on Wednesday. So Lulu was here. She watched the boys while I went and swam, and then took a flight, landed. Pat picked me up. We rode for like 20 minutes, and I was like, this just doesn't feel right on my bike. And it's still like, every time I got on my bike post New Plymouth, I just wasn't feeling like the fit was right, and we discovered that we had a spacer missing, didn't we,
A
Patrick?
5 mil spacer.
And so we finally got that tuned in, and I finally felt okay on the bike, that Thursday before the race.
Yep, perfect. Okay. And then Friday before the race, we went to the venue. What did that look like from a training and warm-up standpoint?
Yeah, Friday, the day before the race, I always kind of like to do pre-race stuff, which is just a few efforts on the bike, on the run, and in the water. And so I got to ride on the course and got to swim in the water, and I got to run on the course as well.
Perfect. And what did you think of the course?
Yeah, I thought it was great. I think we both thought it was a good venue. It's always nice when it's kind of a venue you can just kind of show up to, ride, check out. There weren't too many. It was like all like in a park. So
Self-contained.
there we go. That's what you call it. Yeah, self-contained.
Yeah,
So yeah, it was
perfect.
good.
And then obviously, 2 weeks ago, the water temp was 11.
Which I was so nervous about.
And we ended up yeah, George, that's cold. And then we showed up, and the water temp was 19.
19.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
big change there in a few
Yeah.
weeks. Okay, walk us through race morning.
All right, so the day of the race was scheduled to start at 2 o'clock. And so it was just kind of a chill morning, did a little wake up run, hung out with the boys a little bit. And then it started thunderstorming, lightning and thunder around 12 when I was planning on going to the course. And I was trying to get in contact with somebody to figure out, what's going to happen if there's a delay, because there was races in the morning and there was supposed to be a race about that time when it was thundering and lightning. So I was just like, what's going on? Will there be a delay? And couldn't get a hold of anyone. So I actually had to end up going to the race course to just figure out what time my race would be. And it was delayed an hour. So we ended up just kind of chilling there at the race course. And then, we started the swim. The swim was actually incredibly unfair in my head, the swim start. It was, the first 10 people all lined up to the left, and on the left, the water was like knee deep, so you could run in. And after about 10 people, it got chest height. So you had to, I was not able to run in. I had to dive in, which, it was just an interesting start. I think that was probably the only thing about the entire race that wasn't perfect. And so, yeah, the swim, I think, was much improved for me from the last 2 races. I just kept working my way up and up and up. And so I was pretty happy with how the swim went. I was at the first buoy, I think maybe in like around 7th. And around then I just kept passing people until I came out of the water. I remember being in second coming out. The stats say it was third. So yeah, we'll see.
Okay, and then you saw Katie had a gap out of the water.
Yep.
You got on your bike, walk us through transition, and then ultimately what the 20K on the bike looked like.
Ooh. Yeah, huge shout out to Katie. I mean, she took the race wire to wire, just soloed it, which was pretty awesome to see, and it was just great to be back on the course racing again with Katie. But on the bike, got on my bike, and I just, on the bike and the run, I felt extremely flat. It was super hot and humid for our race, and the bike, I had a little pack of 2 Canadians and myself right out of the water, and tried to work together, and just didn't have much. We got caught by a little pack behind us, and then had a group of how many, like 10?
Yeah,
or less.
I think it was 7 or 8.
7 or 8. And so the course was just flat and tiny bit windy, not too bad, but just a flat course with a couple U-turns. And I think I came into transition how much down from Katie?
70 seconds, 80 seconds.
So and then I started the run, and didn't feel amazing, super hot, really hot, just coming from the snow in Boulder. I guess wasn't great prep for that, but I've in the past, I think, had a history of performing really bad in heat and humidity when I haven't trained for it, and so I was actually really happy with how that race went, considering my lack of heat prep, and came across second.
And now you've done 3 races now. So what are you thinking and reflecting on that, and how have they all been, and where did this one stack up?
This one, I think I've realized with all my racing that it's not going to be on my own timeline. I'd like to be better, but I think I see improvement. We're going to cut right now. Yeah, so the races, I think I'm seeing improvement every week, which is really exciting. And I think, the biggest question I've been getting is, what's my next race? And I think, I'd really like to do an Olympic distance race, which there isn't really any coming up that I have an opportunity to race in. And I'd like to do something higher than a Continental Cup. So there's a World Cup in June, and if there's any opportunities before that, I'll definitely grab them if they come along my way. Stay tuned.